Valens Research, Uniform Financial Analytics.
Right, Match, which has not just Match.com, but a bunch of different dating apps, which is where they make their money with their freemium business. Now with Match, what's really interesting is a couple things. The first thing that's really powerful about Match is if you look at Match on an as-reported basis, and you would say, this is not a great business. This is not a business that I would want to own at all. It's a 5% ROA business. 5% return businesses are not businesses that anybody's clamoring towards, especially when nobody can go on dates right now in the first place. But what we can see is in actuality, uniform accounting returns show that this company is a 45% ROA business, a super high return business. That's great. But the other thing that we talk about when we look at this on an as-reported basis, we'd say, oh no, Match is a low return business at 5%. That's massively reinvesting in itself. That is a way that people destroy value, right? The fastest way for a company to destroy value is to be a low return business and massively reinvest in that business. You do not want steel companies building a bunch of steel plants. Why? Because every dollar they put into that plant to the market is worth 80 cents on the dollar. So literally you are destroying 20 cents every single cent you're deploying in the business. Match.com, if we saw a 5% ROA business and that's growing at 20+% a year, we would see a company, we'd say, oh no, this company is destroying massive amounts of value. I want to short this company to the ground, especially because it has a negative PE also, as you can see by the fact that the as-reported PE isn't even showing up here. When we realize it's actually a high return business, and while growth has been a lot slower, it's accelerating, all of a sudden that looks really interesting. We're not talking about a company that is destroying value. We're talking about a company that's throwing off cash and is trying to find places to reinvest in the business, which looks really interesting. Now, the one issue is, right, the market is also aware that it is not a bad business, which is why the white bars here hide the market's pricing in Match to see ROAs accelerate massively with modest growth. Let's actually say really quick, I'm curious. If I bump this growth, the average growth the company's done over the last couple of years has probably been around, let's say, 6 or 7%. So I'm going to plug in a 7 here instead of 4. And apologies, everybody. I know that we're running a little long here, so thank you for your patience. The intro took a little longer than it normally does. But so what the market's really pricing in here is for returns, which were 57% in 2018 and 45% last year, to basically double. Right, so the market realizes this isn't a bad business, which is really important to say, hey, this doesn't mean that it's screaming buy just because returns are that good. We want to understand what the market's pricing in, but it does highlight how really when we look at this business, we've got a different perspective when we're looking at it with the right data.
Valens Research, the world's leading source for uniform financial analytics.